Toriko, chapter 371. So, the purpose of this chapter was to give us more insight in Acacia'S motives, or should I say, his entire purpose of turning against the entire world. So, what happens is that Toriko pretty much asks Acacia why did he kill his own student. We all know that Acacia was the guy who in the end butchered Jiro. And that was a very sad moment. So Toriko mentioned that when Jiro was fighting Acacia, he was able to smell his presence. And suddenly his presence disappeared, his smell disappeared. And he pretty much got to know that something is up, something is wrong, and he got the vibes that probably Jiro is dead, and now it's confirmed for him that he is dead. So he asked him that why did you kill him? Why did you kill your own student? And instead of straight away answering his question, he kind of drifts into this monologue of from the beginning, why was he doing such things? Like, why did he turn evil? He was pretty much explaining the whole thing to him. And the explanation goes in a way where we should be sympathizing with him. I mean, what he says is that from the very beginning, when he first discovered his ingredient, the very first ingredient that he discovered, he felt this monster, this thing that was inside of him, which would pretty much go out of control when he would eat something delicious or find something delicious. So for him, when it came to finding these ingredients, this thing really drove him. And because of that, he always kept running away from it because he didn't want to lose control. But the problem happened when he ran out of ingredients. And when he looked back, it was that creature who he was always running from. He came and he whispered that no, there are many ingredients that you haven't found yet. And instead of running from him now, he accepted him and he accepted his fate. So basically what Acacia is trying to do was to justify his reasons for turning evil and to in the end destroy Earth pretty much. And Toriko, he doesn't take it well. He just calls him on his bullshit. He's like, dude, don't blame your gourmet cells or your gourmet demon or your urge to eat tasty food on your greed and you turning into an evil person. Don't blame them because of your fucked up decisions and your resolve that was being completely destroyed by your own hands. It's your responsibility that you abandoned, and it's your own fault that you were being controlled by this monster. And he does that in a very badass way. He like catches his collar and shit like that. And that, in a nutshell, was this chapter. Not a lot of action happened. It was more towards having a back and forth between these characters. We can say it's like a pre-battle talk, Even with that, I actually liked this chapter. I really liked this chapter because A, we got an insight over why Acacia turned evil. B, we actually got a really good dialogue. Like, this was some really good writing when it comes to Toriko. Also, there were some really awesome moments, to be honest with you. I mean, there was this moment where, like I said, Toriko asked him, like, okay, why did you kill him? I was able to sense his presence through his smell, but it disappeared, right? And Joey mentions that, hey, you would have also, you would have also known by now that I defeated Midora, and Toriko is like, no, you didn't, and that's it. Like, Joey just shuts up. Like, seriously, Toriko, man, that was a good one. That was actually a good one. Now, this is one thing in this chapter which happens, which I kind of think that is very far fetched, but in Toriko universe it is still kind of possible, which was the way to prepare God. Now, Gigi knew how to prepare God, and before he could tell this to any of the four heavenly kings, he was devoured. He was eaten by Acacia. But at the 10th of a millisecond, like a 10th of 0.1 seconds, he was able to convey that message through smell, through sound, through electromagnetic waves, and through touch. So right now, with that, I mean, I know it's far-fetched, but guys, bear with me. Okay? You have characters who could, jump up to the stratosphere with like a light jump. We have characters who could only, breathe air and survive for like hundreds of years. So you should bear with these things, because even though it sounds stupid and everything, it still is possible in this universe. So within that time he was able to convey that message. So that only means one thing, that all of these four people know how to prepare God, except they aren't really cooks. I mean, as far as I know, there's only one person who used to cook with him, like for himself, and that was Coco. I mean, Toriko, maybe, but as far as food comes, because remember when Coco was introduced, he knew the techniques how to prepare a what was that? This whale thing, puffer whale, yeah. He knew the techniques how to prepare a puffer whale. So I do think that there's only one person who within the four. I'm not talking about Sergeant. I'm not talking about Sergeant because he's a chef. I'm talking about these four guys. Amongst them, I think Coco is the only one who has certain knowledge of cooking ingredients, and also probably even Toriko. But I don't know about I don't know about Zebra. Zebra definitely does not know how to prepare fucking food. He can eat anything, like raw, cooked, or anything. He can literally do that. I don't know about Sunny though. I mean, he can cook or not, but Coco and Toriko, yeah, maybe they can cook. Of course, they could convey this message to Sergeant, and he can cook God, but I don't know he will be able to do that. There's another very interesting thing that was a very interesting thing that was mentioned in this chapter, which was when Acacia discovers God. When he sees God, he there's this scene where Toriko always, whenever he is fighting or battling some ingredient, his gourmet demons come out, and in front of the gourmet demon, the ingredient is in a plate where he is holding a fork and a knife. Same thing over here, but Acacia saw four. Yeah, he saw five. No, sorry, he saw six. Yeah, he saw six flies. He saw 6 flies, and these 6 flies, amongst them, two were very fat ones, and four of them were very tiny flies, which were buzzing around God. And what he meant was the four heavenly kings, and of course, Toriko and Sergeant. And for him, Sturgeon and Toriko both were the fat flies, and he kind of was in he was kind of, we can say, surprised in a certain way, or should I say, an uncomfort was coming from Acacia when he saw these two guys. He was very curious about them, about the way he was sensing them. Something was odd that he found about these two guys. Now we know that Toriko has 3 demons, but we don't know exactly what's the deal with Sturgeon, because he is strong, and back then he was stronger than Toriko. Like, he was able to defeat Toriko even after Toriko going through all of his training. He still was able to defeat Toriko. Now, even though Sturgeon admits that he might not be able to defeat Toriko, it's still in question how strong Sturgeon is, and whether he also has 3 demons or not, because it was very well indicated that Sturgeon probably is his brother. So it would be rather interesting to see what is their dynamic. Okay. Anyways, what do you guys think about this chapter? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Till next time.